Good morning and welcome back to Questioning Sense with me, Matt. Hope you guys are well. We're all fine here. Nothing much has happened since yesterday when I last recorded a video. So yeah, we're all good, thanks. And I hope you guys are as well. Very brief weather update. I'm not too sure how much interest you have in it, but I like doing it. Grey, cold and dry. So all good. Anyway, listen, today we are looking at a relatively new fragrance to me. I got it at the end of October, beginning of November. It arrived in one of my Facebook groups with some fanfare, so I thought we would do a quick review of it. Now, here's a little trip down memory lane. Does everybody remember that one? Ragba, Lattafa, and this one, Eau de Missions. Remember them? What do they have in common? Well, apart from the fact they both got vanilla in, they were both in sort of Fragcom as the best cheapies you could get. This used to be absolutely amazing value. It still is really good value. And this, for a period, was absolutely amazing value. I think I paid £10 for this massive bottle. But things have changed now. If we look at Ragba first, still smells lovely. And it's still cheap, but it has been reformulated. This is not the Ragba that I know or knew and loved. I don't know, they've done something to it. It hasn't got the performance that it used to have, and I don't know, it's just different. It's not as rich, I think. It's a lot lighter and maybe even sweeter than it was. So this one, I don't think can really be, I don't think it's still the bargain that it once was. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is still technically a bargain in terms of what you get for your money. But this used to be kind of like up on a pedestal as one of the best value perfumes you could buy, and I don't think it is anymore. I think that's changed. It's still good. Incidentally, if you want something that smells like Ragba used to smell, have a look at Al-Anik's Ameer Al Oudh, which I really, really do love. Although Ameer Al Oudh has gone up in price as well, so that's nearly £30 for a 100ml bottle now. Well, it might even be over £30 for a 100ml bottle, so it's not the cheapie that it once was either. But this one, still nice, just not as good as it was. And as for Eau de Missions, this has always been in the UK an absolute bargain, but for our friends in America, this has always been a pig to get hold of and was very expensive over there. So for American viewers, American subscribers, this was never actually going to be the bargain that it was for us. I also noticed a quick search this morning was finding that it's crept right up in price and it's becoming very hard to get hold of. Or not very hard, but I think it's becoming a lot harder than it used to be to get hold of it. There are rumours of it being discontinued. I don't know how true they are. But if you can find a bottle really cheap, then grab it, because it's a fantastic, like, I don't know, toasty vanilla, beautiful, beautiful fragrance. So in the quest to find a replacement as the best value for money, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to put forward a new contender and the subject of today's review. So today we are looking at another one from the house of Lattafa, and this is called Ameer Al Oudh Intense Oud. Now, there is another one on the market called Ameer Al Oudh, which is different to the Intense Oud. So when you Google it, you will get this come up and you will get another one come up, and they are different. And thank you very much to our good friend Scent Samurai for checking that out, because he actually has both now. And he can, he confirmed that they are different fragrances. So as I say, this arrived with some fanfare. I think it was a chap called Ashley who first highlighted it to my presence, and then, like every, perfume-hungry addict, we all went out, loads of us went out and bought bottles of it, and this is my one. And so I've had it for over a month now, and as you can see, this is a big 100ml bottle, and there's a fair bit come out of it, so I have been putting it through its paces. So what we're going to do now is we'll go through the notes. I will have another spray, as you would expect, so I'm wearing it at the moment. I wore it to the school run this morning to treat everybody's masked faces to my sweet sillage. And what we'll do is, as I say, I'll spray it now. We'll go through the notes, we'll have a little chat about it, and just to see if it does, is it worth the £13 that this massive, solid 100ml bottle is going for? Is it worth it? Well, let's find out, and let's have a little spray. Look at that, an immense sprayer. First and foremost, this is, I mean, look, we'll tell you what, let's start at the very beginning with the bottle. It's huge. Solid. This bottle is absolute quality. Of the £13 I paid for this, I would imagine quite a lot of that came into this bottle. It weighs an absolute ton. Even the cap is really, really heavy and very, very solid. The presentation is fantastic. As you've seen when I sprayed it, the sprayer is immense. The atomizer just belts out in a really long sort of fine misty spray. Really, really good. The presentation is fantastic. Box wise, comes in a box. That's all you need to know. It comes in a white box with some gold stuff on it. And also what I do like about the presentation is this one's not too gaudy. Yes, it has got some gold on it, but it's not overly over the top or anything like that. Presentation wise, phenomenal. So let's have a look at the notes. The notes are, you're going to hear the word oud quite a bit here. So the notes are oud and oud wood, and in the middle you have vanilla, you have sugar, and you have labdanum, and on the base you have oud, and then you have sandalwood, and you have herbs. You have herbs. Now, what we need to really, really just focus on before we get into the review, this cost me £13, okay? And it's stating that it's got a lot of oud in it, and it's stating that it's got sandalwood in it. Now, sandalwood and oud together are the most expensive materials you can get in perfumery. I don't think they're using a lot, if any, to be honest. I don't know what they've done to give this effect. But I think the issue is lots of Middle Eastern houses use the word oud as a perfume, often when it's not. They also use oud quite often as a sales tool. You know, oud is very popular. So by chucking the word oud around a lot, it seems to generate interest in the perfume. This does not smell very oudy at all, to be honest with you. It does smell like a very Middle Eastern fragrance, which is a good thing. Now, one thing that in that note listing that does shriek out at me is sugar. And when you spray this, that's the first thing you come across, is this very, very airy burnt sugar. It reminds me very much, in fact, the perfume actually reminds me very much of eating a creme brulee. Now, on the top of a creme brulee, you have that burnt sugar, which is what's everywhere around you when you spray this. And then you crack open with a spoon and you get into things becoming a little sweeter, and then you have your pudding inside, basically. With this, it works in a kind of an opposite way. You have the burnt sugar crust on the top, which you break open when you spray the perfume. This burnt sugar is everywhere. But as you get into it, it's not as sweet. It starts to calm down, which is perfect for the perfume. If this burnt sugar was the entire smell of the perfume, I think this would be way too sweet for me and way too cloying. But what I like is the sweetest part of it, which is this airy sugar, is incredibly airy. So it's almost like the sweetest part of the perfume is the furthest perfume away from you. It has a wonderful sillage at this point. The projection is pretty strong too. It's not a beast mode fragrance, but it does have a massive performance to it. Some people have said, oh, it's a beast. I don't think it is. I think it's a very good performing fragrance with very strong projection and a killer sillage for the first couple of hours, and then after that it becomes quite a lot, well, actually a very long lasting perfume, but it does sit a bit closer after the first couple of hours. So performance wise, it's a massive hit for the money. And you know, if it cost a lot more than that, it would still be performing well for its price point. Okay, so when we get into it, the oud is not really oudy. It just gives a slight density to everything, a little heavier, and it kind of weighs down the sugar. The vanilla then kind of catches up in the middle, so you have a sweet but not overly sweet, ambery feeling perfume. Now there's labdanum in this, obviously, and that, I think what that does is it brings an almost like a sweet tobacco style smell to it. There isn't a listed note of tobacco, and it's not a particularly tobacco driven fragrance, but as it dries down, which is probably better to go to this wrist, it does have a kind of a tobacco-y vibe to it. The sandalwood at the bottom is creamy and smooth and supports everything else. I don't get much from the herbs, if anything at all. There is, I think it's the labdanum again, giving a slight hint of something animalic to it, but it's not like, you know, it doesn't smell of animals or anything like that. There's just something there that makes it a little bit more interesting. It's a great, great perfume. I think this is just an absolute winner. Now, when you look at the presentation, when you look at the performance, and when you look at the smell, this is a surefire hit. I think this is going to be exactly like Rugba was. I think it's going to be huge. I think people are going to be comparing these two in terms of bargains in time to come, especially with this one on the wane. This one is an excellent perfume, and I think it's one that you're going to need to grab quite quickly. Now, my friend Scent Samurai has actually already bought a backup bottle, because at the moment, when you can get this for £12 for 100 mils, I don't know what it's going to cost in the US, but I would imagine as it's a Lattafa, it's not going to be expensive. This is going to become very, very popular, and as soon as people like me start banging on about it on YouTube, there's very little about it on YouTube at the moment, but I expect that to change. This will go up in cost and availability. Now, if it's going to be discontinued or anything like that, it's a shame. It's a good bargain fragrance. Whether I would want to, go to the ends of the earth to get another bottle when this runs out, I don't know. It performs well. It's sweet. It's lovely. It's very, very nice. And it really is an absolute bargain. Whether it stays an absolute bargain is another question, and it's not one I don't know. I mean, I'm lucky I've got a large collection of perfume, so it's unlikely that I'm going to get through 100 mil, but this could easily be a winter wear, daily, a daily wear, a signature scent in the winter for people. It is, as I say, it does smell very much like a Middle Eastern perfume. It is perfect in colder climes. I don't know how well it'll do in warmer weather, because it could become a little cloying. Although, as I said earlier in the review, the sugary, overly sweet part is very airy and early on, and then it isn't quite as sweet. But I think if it was warm, it might be a little bit too sweet. I don't know. That depends on you. It's ageless. Any age group can wear it. I think it would suit possibly the more mature fragrance enthusiast a little more than the thrusters, although it is very sweet. So the thrusters like a bit of sweet. So maybe the thrusters will love this as well. It's unisex, totally unisex. I don't find it either masculine or feminine. I think it's an enchanting wear. It will smell amazing on a lady, and I love the way it smells on me. Just a really, really good perfume, and one of the best bargains out there at the moment. So if you're, we all like to blind buy. I've tried not to, and if you've been following the channel over the year or so we've been running, you'll notice that I've sort of put myself on blind buy bans, and then I've started blind buys, and I've done the odd one. But when it's 13 quid a bottle, bang, you can blind buy. That's no problem at all. If you get it and you don't like it, it will make a really nice gift for someone, because it's a beautiful looking perfume. It doesn't feel cheap at all. It doesn't smell like a cheap perfume. It smells like a rich and interesting perfume. It's very linear. It doesn't really do a lot. You have the opening stage, which, as I say, is this burnt sugar in the air, and then it becomes a rich, ambery, spicy, almost tobacco-like perfume, which I think is absolutely lovely. So I think this is a really good one for a bargain of the year for me. I think in some respects it is utterly one of the best bargains I've had in a long time, and I think this is a worthy challenger to the other two as best value perfume on the market. So, have you got this? Have you tried it? Let me know what you think. And if you're looking for it and you get it, please come back to us and let us know what you think of it, because I think this is going to be an absolute storm when it takes off. So there you have it. My take on Ameer Al Oudh Intense Oud by Lattafa. Thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate you watching the videos, and we'll be back soon with a lot more. See you on the next video. Cheers and bye.